So let me get this straight. Because the internet is not calm right now, it's loud, it's messy. And it's moving like a full-blown reality show finale with zero script and way to many main characters. And right in the middle of this chaos, Karlissa Saffold stepping in like she just clocked in for a shift nobody asked for. Because what started as quiet tension, the kind people pretend isn't there, suddenly exploded into a moment that had timelines freezing mid-scroll. And the target this time, Jaidyn Alexis. Now listen, we've seen drama. We've seen messy relationships, public arguments, and situations that feel like they belong on Zeus Network more than real life. But this felt like a WWE interruption where someone storms the ring, grabs the mic, and says everything people were thinking, but way louder. Because Karlissa didn't just speak, she checked. And not softly either. We're talking direct energy, sharp tone, and a message that had one clear focus. Leave Nevaeh out of this. And the second those words hit the internet, it was OVR. Because now the conversation isn't just about drama anymore. It's about boundaries. It's about kids being brought into situations they didn't ask for. And most importantly, it's about who gets to speak on who. Now here's where it gets wild. Because instead of calming things down, that statement did the complete opposite. It lit a fire so fast that timelines turned into battlegrounds, fans picking sides, comment sections turning into debates, reaction channels popping up like they've been waiting all week for this exact moment, and the real question everyone's asking. Now here's where the story really starts unfolding, because that moment didn't just come out of nowhere. This had tension behind it, history behind it, and enough built-up energy to shake the whole internet the second it dropped. Because when Karlissa Saffold finally spoke up, it wasn't random. It felt like something she had been holding in for a while. At first, the situation wasn't loud, no viral shouting clips, no explosive interviews, just little moments here and there that people picked up on, side comments, subtle reactions, things that didn't seem like a big deal individually, but together. They started forming a pattern that people couldn't ignore. And once Jaidyn Alexis started getting pulled into those conversations more often, that's when the attention shifted. Because now it wasn't just random internet chatter anymore. Now it felt personal, like different sides of the same situation were starting to collide. Then add Chrisean Rock into the mix, and suddenly everything gets 10 times more complicated. Because now you've got overlapping dynamics, different relationships, and layers of emotion all happening at once. And the internet loves when things get that messy. At first, people were just watching, quietly observing, forming opinions, but not really going all in yet. You know how the internet does. They wait, they analyze, they piece things together before they fully react. But once certain names started being mentioned more frequently, that's when things started heating up. Because now Nevaeh became part of the conversation. And the moment that happened, everything changed. Because once kids get mentioned, the tone shifts instantly. It's no longer just drama for entertainment. Now it feels serious. People start questioning boundaries, intentions, and whether certain lines should have ever been crossed in the first place. That's exactly what happened here. Because suddenly, the internet wasn't just reacting for fun anymore. People were debating, some saying, leave the kids out of it completely, others arguing, well, it's already public, so people are going to talk. And just like that, the divide started. One side pushing for boundaries, the other side pushing back. And that tension, that's what built everything up. Meanwhile, Karlissa Saffold was watching all of this unfold. Seeing the comments, hearing the discussions, feeling the shift as things started getting more intense. And you could almost tell she wasn't going to stay quiet forever. Because when something involves family, silence doesn't last long. And the internet could feel it too. That quiet tension. That sense that something was about to be said. Something that would change the entire direction of the conversation. People didn't know when it would happen. but they knew it was coming. And when it finally did, it hit hard. Because instead of a calm response, instead of something soft or indirect, what people got was straight to the point energy. No confusion, no guessing, no hidden meaning, just a clear message, stop. And the moment that dropped, everything shifted. Because now, what used to be background noise became the main story. All those scattered conversations suddenly focused on one moment, one statement, one reaction that everybody had something to say about, and the reactions came in fast. Some people supported it instantly, saying it was about time someone spoke up and set boundaries. Others questioned the delivery, asking if calling things out publicly would actually help or just make everything worse. But no matter what side people were on, nobody ignored it, because moments like that don't just pass quietly. They stick, they spread, they become the center of attention whether you want them to or not. And the more people talked about it, the bigger it got, because every reaction added fuel, every opinion pushed the story further, every repost made it harder to control. And before you knew it, what started as one statement turned into a full-blown internet situation. And just when it seemed like that moment was the peak, like things couldn't possibly get louder than that. And just like that, the situation didn't just get louder, it turned into pure chaos. Because the second Karlissa Saffold dropped that statement, the internet didn't pause, it reacted. Instantly, like someone hit a panic button across every timeline at once. Now suddenly, everybody had something to say about Jaidyn Alexis. Not just fans, not just critics. We're talking influencers, bloggers, reaction channels. Even people who weren't paying attention 5 minutes ago jumping in like they've been following the story from day one. Because that's how fast things move online. One moment turns into 1,000 opinions. And those opinions, they don't stay quiet. They stack, they clash, they collide until it feels like the entire internet is arguing at the same time, and right in the middle of it all. This one statement about Nevaeh became the center of everything. Now here's where it gets wild. The interpretations started going in completely different directions. Some people were like, finally, someone said what needed to be said. Kids should be off limits, period. Others were like, hold on, why bring this to social media instead of handling it privately? And just like that, the divide got even bigger. Because now it wasn't just about what was said. It was about how it was said. And the internet loves debating delivery, because sometimes the tone matters more than the message. And in this case, that tone felt strong, direct, and impossible to ignore, which only made people react even harder. Now enter the reaction videos, because those, they took things to another level completely. People were pausing clips, zooming in, analyzing facial expressions, replaying sentences like they were trying to decode a secret message hidden between the words. Every pause, now let's talk about the memes. Because once those started circulating, it was over. People turned the situation into jokes, comparisons, exaggerated moments that spread faster than the original clip itself. Some compared it to a WWE mic drop moment. Others said it felt like a Zeus Network reunion episode where everything finally comes out at once. And while it looked funny on the surface, those memes were shaping the narrative in real time. Because memes don't just entertain, they influence how people see things. They simplify complex situations into quick, viral takes that people accept without even thinking twice. And in this case, those takes were loud. Meanwhile, the arguments kept going. One side defending Karlissa Saffold, saying she was protecting family and setting boundaries that needed to be respected. The other side defending Jaidyn Alexis, saying the situation didn't need to be addressed publicly like that. Back and forth, non-stop. And that's what kept the story alive. Because as long as people disagree, the conversation doesn't end. It grows. It spreads. It becomes something bigger than the original moment. Now here's where things get even messier. Because the more people talked, the more other topics started getting pulled into the situation. Past drama, old tensions, Things people thought were already over suddenly got dragged back into the spotlight like unfinished business. And once that happened, yeah, it stopped being about one moment. Now it was about everything. Every past issue. Every unresolved tension. Every opinion people had been holding back. All coming out at once like a flood. And right in the middle of it, Karlissa Saffold still standing on what she said, while Jaidyn Alexis remained part of a conversation that was getting bigger by the second, because now every move mattered. Every silence mattered. Every response, or lack of response, mattered. And the internet, it was watching all of it. But here's the twist nobody expected, because just when people thought this was just another online argument, something shifted, something deeper. Because now, the conversation wasn't just about drama anymore. It started turning into questions about boundaries, respect, and who gets to speak on what, especially when kids are involved. And just when it felt like the internet had reached peak chaos, that's when everything slowed down for a second, not because the drama disappeared, but because people started realizing this wasn't just another messy moment anymore. This had turned into something deeper, something that hit differently, because now, it wasn't just about what Karlissa Saffold said or how Jaidyn Alexis was being discussed. It became about the bigger picture, about boundaries, about who gets to speak on who, and about how far things should go when real-life situations are being played out online. And once that realization hit, yeah, the tone shifted again. Some people started stepping back, saying the situation had gone too far. They began questioning whether the internet had turned something serious into entertainment, whether the reactions had crossed lines just as much as the original moment itself. But not everyone was ready to slow down, because on the other side, people were still pushing forward, still debating, still defending their takes like it was a final round argument that needed to be won, saying the conversation needed to happen, that ignoring it would only make things worse, that certain boundaries had to be called out publicly. And that clash, that's what kept everything alive. Because when the strong sides refuse to back down, the story doesn't end, it stretches, it evolves. It becomes something that keeps people coming back to see what happens next. Now here's where the emotional fallout really starts to show, because behind all the memes, jokes, and viral reactions, reputations were taking hits, not instantly, not all at once, but slowly, like cracks forming that keep spreading the more pressure gets added. Because once a narrative sticks online, it doesn't just disappear. It follows. It lingers. It reshapes how people see you moving forward. And for Karlissa Saffold, that meant every future move would now be viewed differently. Every statement would be analyzed, every reaction questioned, every silence interpreted as something deeper. That's the reality of going viral in a controversial moment. But here's where things get even more unpredictable, because, while the internet was busy arguing, reacting, and forming opinions, conversations behind the scenes started shifting too. People began speaking up, some supporting, some distancing themselves, others adding layers to the story that made everything even more confusing. And the public, they didn't know what to believe anymore. Because now it wasn't just one narrative. It was multiple versions of the same situation, all competing for attention, all claiming to be the truth. And when that happens, clarity disappears, and everything turns into noise. Meanwhile, Chrisean Rock remained connected to the situation, whether directly involved in that moment or not. Her name kept coming up, her presence still tied to the larger story, adding even more weight to an already complicated situation. And that's when people really started to feel it. Because this wasn't just entertainment anymore. It was real life being turned into a spectacle. Now imagine trying to move forward while millions of people are watching, judging, and forming opinions based on clips, reactions, and secondhand narratives. Every move you make gets turned into content. Every moment becomes part of a story you don't fully control. That kind of pressure, it doesn't just fade. It builds. And it changes everything. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. because just when it felt like things might finally calm down, when it seemed like the internet might move on to the next trending topic, a new question started surfacing, not about what happened, not about who was right or wrong, but about what happens next. Because this situation didn't just expose drama, it exposed how fast the internet can turn, how quickly narratives can form, and how easily everything can spiral beyond control. Now come on, don't sit there acting like you didn't just witness one of the messiest, most chaotic internet moments in a minute. Because this right here, this wasn't just drama. This was a full storyline with plot twists, sides being chosen, and energy switching faster than a reality show finale. And I already know, your mind is racing. You've got opinions, you've got takes. And you've probably picked a side whether you admit it or not. So don't just scroll past like this didn't happen. Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Was Karlissa Saffold right for speaking up? Or did Jaidyn Alexis get unfairly dragged into something that should've stayed private? Because let's be real, the comments on this one are about to be just as wild as the situation itself. And we're reading all of them. Now go ahead and smash that like button like it owes you money. Like it just started drama and tried to play innocent. Like it dropped a statement and then disappeared when things got messy. Yeah, hit it with that same energy. And don't forget to subscribe, because if you think this was crazy, you already know it's not over. Stories like this don't just end, they evolve, they twist, and they come back even louder the next time around. We're talking updates, reactions, new angles, and the parts nobody else is breaking down the way we do. Because over here, we stay on it. We stay ready, and we never miss. This is Fame Flaws, where the drama is louder, the tea is hotter, and the truth, yes, it always finds a way to surface.